All right. So I've put together, there's only 8 questions from our final that have to do with Unit 3, only 8 questions out of the 35. So it's not going to be super long, don't worry. We're going to blow through this pretty quick, and then we're going to get going with our study guide. The study guide is going to be a lot more directly aligned with what you're going to see on the test than the questions that you saw in the final, because as you know, our tests are on paper and free response. They're not online and multiple choice, okay? But we do have some multiple choice questions here to go over, so let's do that. Number 1, we're being asked to find the slope of this line. I would say for your notebooks, just sketch this line as best as you can. Okay, and I do also want you to put in all of the answer choices. Now, the reason for that is all the answer choices on this final exam were specifically designed to mess with you or to confuse you, right? And we'll see in number 1 exactly what I'm talking about. So, to find the slope, what method here are we going to use since we have a graph? Olumipo? We're going to do rise over run. That's exactly right. We'll go rise over run. Are we going to start with our point on the left or our point on the right? Anyone remember? Do we start on the left or the right? We start on the left, right? Just like when you're reading a book, you always start on the left and work towards the right. So we're right here on the leftmost point. We're going to rise downward 1, 2 spaces. And then we're going to run over. Take out your notebook real quick. We're just copying this down. There's no worksheet.
Oh.
So it's okay. We're going down 2. And then we're going to the right 1, 2. Right? So if we wanted to set up our rise over run proportion, what would it look like? Blank over blank. What's it going to be? 2 over 2, right? What does 2 over 2 simplify to be? 1, exactly. So it must be answer choice D, correct? That's what we got, positive 1. Wrong. Why is it not positive 1? Because from left to right, our line is sloping downhill, right? So it's not going to be D. Our answer is going to be C, negative 1. And that positive 1 is thrown in there as a choice to specifically confuse you, right? If the answer choices were like negative 1, 20, 17, and 0, right? It'd be pretty easy for you to deduce which answer is correct. But with this, you really have to know what you're doing, and you have to know what not to do just as much. Right? If you did a rise 2 and a run 2, and you saw those 2s and thought my slope must be 2, boom, you could have picked answer B. Or if you saw those 2s, thought your slope was 2, but you recognize it's sloping downhill, hey, my slope might be negative 2. So all 4 of these are very plausible answer choices for you to select if you're not fully solid on what to do. Okay, that's the main idea of this whole thing. That's why we're doing it, is so we can kind of analyze how these answer choices are meant to trick you. Number 2, just like our warm-up, we're going to have to use the slope formula here between 2, 4 and 6, 12. We'll go ahead and label those x1, y1, x2, y2. Our formula looks just like this, as we know. So this is how we're going to set it up. I'm going to move down past number 1 now to number 2. So just so you know, these are questions from the final that have to do with Unit 3. We're taking our Unit 3 test on Wednesday, so we're just copying down this work in our notebooks now. We're taking our Unit 3 test on Wednesday.
I thought we just started Unit
No, so we finished Unit 3.
Or will we take Unit 2 and Unit 3 together?
So we already took the Unit 2 test, right? In Unit 3, we finished right at the end of Term 1. So where we would normally take a Unit 3 test, we just took the final, but now we have to take the actual
Wait, when did
test.
you finish Unit 2?
Unit 2 was exponents and scientific notation. So once we finished scientific notation, we took our Unit 2 test. Yeah. Yeah. So if you want to get this work copied down, I will get your notebook out and get it copied down.
Afterwards, like,
What did the nurse say?
he just gave me salt water.
Okay. If it flares up or becomes an issue, just let me know. Okay. So we're going to plug in our numbers here. That should be plenty of time for you to copy this down. We're going to plug in y2, which is 12, minus y1, which is 4. Then we'll do x2, which is 6, minus x1, which is 2. Okay, on the top we've got 12 minus 4, that gives us 8. On the bottom we got 6 minus 2, that gives us 4. What does 8 over 4 simplify to, folks? Positive 2. That's exactly right. So our answer here is C, positive 2. Now the slope formula questions, if you got this right, that's how I really know that you know how to use the slope formula. Because if you had put x2 minus x1 on top instead, you would have gotten 1 over 2. If you had done that and then flipped your y2 and y1s and put y1 in front, you would have got negative 1/2. Or if you kept it like this but flipped your y2 and y1, you would have got negative 2. So you had to input these the exact right way into our equation to get the correct answer. If you made one little mistake on any of this setup, it would have driven you right to an incorrect answer. Okay? And when we use quizzes, we can't go back, right? It's even more important that we're making sure we're selecting the right answer. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Number 3, finding the slope from a table. Whenever you see a table and you're asked to find the slope, just draw your arrows right away so you know what's going on. What's our change in y here? What's our change in y from point to point? From 2 to 1? Minus 1. And then our change in x up top is plus 2, right? So our change in y over our change in x is equal to negative 1 over 2. Answer choice D. And again, if you flip the numerator and denominator, or if you somehow messed up the negative sign here or here, you would have gotten one of these wrong answers. Now I know you don't have your work in front of you to see, but can you guys kind of see what I'm saying with these multiple choice questions? How easy it is to get something wrong without even knowing it?
Yeah.
And feeling confident, oh, I got this answer. That's one of my answer choices. It must be right, right? Not always. Yes. Yeah. There you go. Does that work for number 3? And you can title this Term 1 Final Review. Or, yeah, just Term 1 Final Review is fine. If you already titled it something else, don't erase it. Don't worry about it. Just whatever you got, I'm sure is great.
Wait, does the Unit 3 test go into our quarter 1?
2.
What? We're going to do quarter 1.
I know, that's just kind of how the paper gets cut. Am I right? I would have loved to replace the final with the Unit 3 test, but there's tremendous value in having a final exam.
Why?
Well, when you get to college, your final exam and your midterm are the only things in the grade book at all.
Huh?
So like when you take a college course, right, you learn for 6 weeks, you take a midterm test, you learn for 6 weeks, you take a final. The only thing that determines your grade is the midterm and the final.
Actually?
For real, yeah. In college, it's pretty much how it is. I mean, it depends on the college, it depends on the class, but most general education college courses, that's how it works.
That's why college is so easy. Well, it's not.
Depends. We can talk about it later.
I mean,
Depends on the person.
Easy, but like it's not as much work.
Yes. It's not like you have worksheets to do. It's like here's the concepts.
And then you write
Figure
it
it
down.
out. Yeah, you write it down and you figure it out on your
And you
own.
just leave it in your notebook until the final.
Exactly. That's why developing study habits now is so important because you're on your own eventually. All right, down to number 4. Again, we're finding the slope here. Doesn't matter if it's a vertical table or a horizontal table. We're still going to find our change in y and our change in x,
You
right?
don't have homework in college, really?
No. Plus 5, unless it's like a project.
And that could be worth points.
Yeah, that's why I said it depends on the class. So our change in y, plus 5. Our change in x, plus 2. Therefore, our slope, which is the change in y over the change in x, is just 5 over 2. And look at those answer choices. Very confusing. Right? If you did x over y, you'd get 2 over 5 and feel pretty confident about it without even knowing it's wrong. Questions on any of these so far? As we go through at least this first side of this worksheet, how do we feel about these questions? Thumbs up if you're like, oh, okay, I knew that. That's just a review. Thumbs sideways if you're like, I kind of got it, but now I understand a little bit more. And thumbs down if you were lost before and you're lost now, and that's okay. So where are we at? Okay, good. Up, down, sideways, that's fine. Flipping it over to number 5. Let's take a look. Ooh. Oh, sorry, my bad. There you go. Yeah, Noah? Yeah, Rochelle? Yeah, when he comes back. All good on number 4? Okay. All right. To number 5. Now we're looking for the constant of proportionality. What's the formula to find the constant of proportionality? Does anyone remember? K equals what?
X, K equals X.
Very close. It's something over x.
Y over X.
Y over x. K equals y over x. Right? So here's our x. Here's our y. We take our y over our x. 9 over 1. That equals $9. Very simple. If we took the second data point, 18 over 2, we would have gotten $9. If we did 27 over 3, we would have got $9. Either y you put over its appropriate x is going to give you the same k. Okay? Now, number 6 is asking us for something different, not just to find k. It's asking us what's the equation y equals kx for the table. So we've got to write an equation here. What's the one and only thing we have to find in order to be able to write an equation here? We only need to find one thing and one thing only. I heard someone whisper it. We're looking for k, right? So we're going to do exactly what we just did. We're going to take y. We're going to put it over x. 15 over 5. What's that equal to? 3. So our k is equal to 3. So our equation y equals kx just becomes y equals 3x. We could have taken any of those 4 points on the table and we would have gotten 3 just the same way. Questions on 6? You're going to have to remember to write this type of equation, y equals kx, for the test. Now number 7 says basically the same kind of thing. Which equation matches this table? Okay, let's go ahead and see what we're going to do here. So because most of our answer choices have a b value on the end, right? We see plus 5, minus 5, minus 5. Because we have all those b values, we can assume that this might not be a proportional relationship, right? And what about this table tells us for sure that we don't have a proportional relationship here? There's something on this table that really stands out to me in showing that this is non-proportional. Anyone see it? Got 3 rich tickets for you if you can see it.
Wait, see what?
See what?
Okay.
Oh, I got it.
Meepo, you
I got
see it?
I got it.
What is
No. No.
it? Say that one more time.
It's just x
Hold
plus
on.
1. I mean x plus 5.
Okay, hold on. That's not the question.
I know why it's not.
Meepo, go for it.
So 0 times, it's 0 plus, it's plus 5, x plus 5.
I know,
Because
I
0
know, I
plus
know.
5 is
It's Jay.
5. And
You know it, I
then,
know.
Okay, so you're saying our answer choice is A because there's a plus 5 and a 5 here?
I know why he's
Is that what you're saying?
not.
Okay, that's great.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Okay, hold on. Hey, you guys. All right, never mind. I'm not doing that again.
Oh.
So,
No, it's y equals x minus negative. It's y equals x minus 5.
not quite.
It's not?
So, only people, you're on the right track. I'll get you a rich ticket because you're on the right track. We're looking right here, folks.
That's what I was
Okay? The question was, how can we tell from this table that this is non-proportional? What point does every proportional relationship cross through? 0, 0, right? You can't cross through 0, 5 and 0, 0, so we know this is non-proportional. It's all right. Don't worry. You'll have plenty of opportunities to get rich tickets tomorrow when we play Blook It, okay? Just be patient.
I'm going to look at tomorrow.
Yeah, to review. So, because this is non-proportional, we can't just take y over x and call it a day. Right? Okay, guys, let's come back together. We can't just take y over x, right? That would give us 6 over 1 and 7 over 2. Those aren't equal. So we got to do the change in y over the change in x. Right? Our change in y is plus 1. Our change in x is plus 1. So our slope is just 1 over 1, which equals 1, right? Are there any answer choices we can cross out right away now that we know that our slope is equal to 1? Which answer choice can we cross out?
We can cross out y minus
y equals 5x.
Yeah, we can cross out this one, y equals 5x. Our slope's not 5. Our slope is 1. Right? Is there another equation we can cross out right away that just looks gross?
Y equals x minus 5.
Y equals x minus 5? Not quite. That's in the form that we want. Andy? D, right? Let's take a look at D. Okay, guys, stop talking. D says x equals y minus 5. Now that's not in the form that we want, right? It's y equals mx plus b. Yo mama's ex-boyfriend, not x yo mama's boyfriend or whatever this is. Wait, mama's ex yo boyfriend. That's what that would be. We don't want that. We want yo mama's ex-boyfriend. So we can't even look at D. Now the difference is, the only difference we're looking for is between the plus 5 and the minus 5, right? How do we know what our y-intercept is? Is it on the table? Yeah, in fact I boxed it up. Our y-intercept is wherever x is 0, right? So our b value here is positive 5. If we wanted to write this equation with an m of 1 and a b of 5, we could say y equals 1x plus 5. Don't need to write that 1 there, so just y equals x plus 5 is our answer. Questions on number 7? I know it took us a while to get there.
How many questions are there, Mr.?
This 8's the last one.
Okay.
No, I only took the ones relevant for Wednesday's test. So, number 8. I saw a lot of people make a very simple mistake on this one, but that's okay. We're finding the rate of change. Now, we haven't talked about that phrase a whole lot, rate of change. But rate of change is literally just the same way of saying slope. Typically, we use rate of change when we're talking about unit rate, like if we have units here, miles and hours. If we're dealing with a real-world context, usually we call it rate of change. But it's the same thing as saying slope. So all we have to do is take one of the points on our graph, we look over at the y-axis, and we look down at the x-axis, right? What type of relationship do we have here in number 8?
Proportional.
A proportional relationship. How do you know it's proportional?
It goes through the origin.
It goes through the origin, and it's a straight line, right? A straight line through the origin means we have a proportional relationship. So we can just find k by putting y over x. Our y value is 80. Our x value is 2. What does 80 divided by 2 give us? 40, right? 80 was in miles. 2 was in hours. So what are the units going to be for our final answer of 40? Miles per hour, right? Option C. So if you didn't realize that the x-axis was going by 2's, you may have selected 80 miles an hour. If you didn't look at the numbers on the x and y axis at all and saw that you went up 1 over 1, you might have selected 1 mile an hour. I saw a lot of people, unfortunately, select 1 mile per hour because you just went up 1 over 1 and made your slope 1 over 1. But we're not going up 1 and over 1. We're going up 80 and over 2. Okay? Questions about any of those questions? I know our brains are probably fried from all the finals last week and the fact that it's Monday.